and welcome to the Stepping Into Your Calling podcast. It is time to ask yourself the questions you've been avoiding. Am I good enough? Why do I feel so sad? Am I doing everything I can do? Do they hate me? Is there something better for me out there? Whether you're a single woman trying to live a more joyful life, a married woman struggling in your relationship, or a mother trying to be the best parent you can be, this is the podcast for you. The Stepping Into Your Calling podcast is a live workshop style health and fitness podcast packed with actionable steps that will help you live a more fulfilling life. Host Sol Lagunas brings her knowledge as a registered nurse, mother of 3 children, wife, student, and faith-based leader to inspire you to step into your calling without fear. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Stepping Into Your Calling podcast. I am so excited that you are here. I am doing another casual conversation with you because I feel like that's been very helpful for me to get a little bit more comfortable talking to you via a microphone. So again, my name is Marisol. I'm your host. Today was an amazing day. It was so special. My son graduated from pre-K. And if you follow me on social media, which I hope you do, you can follow me on Instagram at Sol Lagunas _ to keep up with what's going on in my personal life, as well as what's going on with any events that we have coming up, which we do. And I will talk to you about that at the end of this episode. But like I was saying, today was a very special day. My son graduated from pre-K. He's been in pre-K for 2 years. So he's been pre-K since 3. He was able to transition from home care into the school system to continue getting his therapies because, as you know, he has Down syndrome. So it was a very special day, very emotional too. Like we know what's going to happen in the next year. So we are embracing ourselves for that. And I say embracing because it's definitely going to be a challenge personally for me to accept what's happening in the next year when it comes to his education and his support. So today he graduated, and a couple of weeks ago we had an IEP meeting, which, if you're familiar, it is an individual educational plan, or I should say education plan, but it is individualized for the specific student. And he's been on an IEP since he started school. So we've had these check-ins and these official meetings throughout the school's year, last year and this year. But basically, we were informed that he's no longer going to be going to school where he is now. He's going to be transitioning to another school where he's going to continue getting support, and actually added support, it sounds like, because the ratio for teacher to student is much smaller than the ratio he is in now. So we're excited for that, but it doesn't mean that we are not feeling a little emotional. Some type of anxiety is kicking in just because we're nervous for him. I know he's going to do good anywhere that he goes, and with support from us, his parents, and his teachers, he's going to be on the road to success, and there's no limits to what he can accomplish. And he's been proof of that throughout the years that he's been with us. He just turned 5 too. So we are just going along with the flow right now, but we're looking forward to how these changes are going to roll out or develop or, just exhibit themselves, because it is nerve-wracking. And I'm speaking to special needs parents at this time, but I'm sure you know how tumultuous things can be when it comes to having a special needs child and just all the emotions that are mixed in. We have some type of shield on our child, and we want to protect him as much as we can. But sometimes it's not in our hands to protect them with every single detail that happens in his life. And where I would, in a hypothetical life, I would just have him with me all the time. I would take him to work and bring him back and put him in my backpack and, just have him with me everywhere. I know that that's not going to be something that helps him flourish and just develop his own personality and continue to gain those abilities to, walk and talk and run. And so I try to think about those things. But as a mom, it's hard for me to not think about all the other things that come with having a special needs child. And I'm sure you can understand me if you have one where, the other people are just like staring at you or at your child, and you want to protect them as much from the judgment as possible, but in reality that's not feasible, right? Like we're not going to be able to be there 24/7 to protect him from the stares or from people's comments, which I am very blessed. And as a family, we have been blessed to have unconditional support. And even when there's stares, we don't dwell, or maybe we're not even paying attention because we're so happy for him when we are out and about. We're excited for the things that he's able to do on the moments that we share with him. So it's very hard for me to say that we have really paid attention to people staring at us, because I feel like when they stare at us, it's not out of judgment, it's more of a loving side. Because Papito, if you have not seen him, his smile is so contagious. And when you see him, he is like the cutest little boy you've ever seen. And I'm not saying this because he's my child, because I obviously have I have to side with him and his cuteness. But even for strangers that see us out in the street, they look at him and they're like, okay, he is so adorable. And he really truly is a joy, and he has his own personality. We love to see it. He is very loving and warm, but he can like switch and change his mind in an instant and go from hugging, kissing, to pushing you away and just totally rejecting you. So I love watching that. And I can see when he's in a room surrounded by people, how everyone looking at him is just totally attracted to his smile and his personality, that I don't dwell in the stares because I don't feel it. And I believe that comes with, a positive mindset and just positive outlooks when it comes to being in those situations. So I'm just going on and talking about my son. But yeah, he's going to go to another school. The school is about 20 to 30 minutes away from us. So he's going to get a bus service, which that's new. So new school, new bus service, new teachers. And another thing they just started, and maybe it's just in Illinois, but they're doing full day kindergarten. And I was in that, you know, should we do full day? Should we just keep on doing half day? But honestly, like we're gonna go all in. We're gonna go all in. We're going to let him guide us to whether he wants to be a full-time all-day student kindergartner or if he wants to do half day. So the good part about having an IEP is that it really is individualized to what the child needs. So if we notice that Papito is just like not having it, like I don't want to be there all day, we are able to make the switch and just direct his plan to fit his needs, which is amazing. I don't know much about IEPs besides the fact that my son and my daughter are both in IEPs, but I do know that they've been so helpful in trying to get them to meet their milestones. And I don't know how long they've been around either, but I really appreciate all that extra support that we get from the school system and just the district itself because we are also enrolled in a district program that helps and supports children with special needs, special abilities. So we are very happy and fortunate to have that in our lives. And I mean, honestly, the saddest thing for me personally is just the fact that he's not going to be going to school with his sisters. And because he's so loving and full of, joy, everyone in school knows him. So even like his sisters who one is in kindergarten and the other one's in third grade, like their teacher knows their teachers know Rodrigo, which is such a blessing as well. They're happy to have him in their school. So that's going to be a little sad for me, like trying to adjust to the fact that my child is not going to have that extra pair or double pair of eyes to check in on him and see how he's doing. But I mean, we are going into this new journey with him with an open mindset, an open heart, and just making sure that his needs continue to be priority. And honestly, like I'm I'm torn between, wanting him to be in a classroom where he gets support and wanting him to be in a where there's no like there's no exclusion, if that makes any sense. I wanted him initially because I done my research on Down syndrome and all the communities and the groups and that help inclusion. I was going into the school system with that thought, like at some point I want my son to be in a class where there's no exclusions because he has Down syndrome. But honestly, like we've noticed how much support he's getting and how he is not excluded, that for us, this method is working for now. But I support any parent who is fighting for inclusion because I think at some point, if I had had a bad experience with the school and the classroom, the teachers, regarding them treating him differently, then I would definitely be the first person to raise my voice because honestly, at the end of the day, the best advocate for your child is yourself. So if I had noticed any differences between how they treated my son and how they treat the rest of the kiddos, then I would have voiced out my concerns for sure. But so far, we've had such a wonderful experience that, again, it's so hard for us to imagine that, he's going to be going to another school and just having different teachers and not sharing the same roof with his older siblings. But we're looking forward to it. We're looking forward to the milestones that he is going to continue to reach in the next coming months. And I mean, he's been such a blessing to our lives. I invite you to listen to a previous episode where I talk about his diagnosis, his birth, and my testimony of how God what truly, truly blessed us by giving us the opportunity to be parents to a child with Down syndrome. And not just any child with Down syndrome, but to Rodrigo, because he's been truly a blessing. He's so unique. The child that you would think as a listener causes me the most anxiety or the most work is the one that causes me the least problems, which is so awesome. And I don't want to throw any shade to my older daughters, but he is just such a good, he's such a good kid. Like that's all I could really say. He's an amazing, amazing kid. And we look forward to the next coming year. So I invite you to go listen to that episode. It's really heartwarming and touching, very vulnerable side of me that I have not shared as much throughout the rest of the episode. So go on to that. And like I said, we're in a season in our lives where our mindsets have changed, and he has a lot to do with how we've evolved and the way that we embrace changes now, which is very different than how we used to before he was born. So go listen to that episode. And then, like I said, and what I would love for you to follow me on social media just because we have a lot of challenges. I am partnering with another woman who is also a mom, and we're both like looking for support system, and we want to be that support system for you, and we are doing different challenges. The most recent that's going to be coming up is called 75 hard, and if you're not familiar with 75 hard, we are going to be going live in our individual community groups to discuss what 75 hard is and what the challenge consists of. So I invite you to join our Facebook community group. It's called the Stepping into Your Calling podcast Facebook group. So when you go onto your Facebook, go into groups, search the Stepping into Your Calling podcast, and the group should come up. It is a private group. So you will need to get accepted, but you will get updates from me there very frequently, more frequently than once a week, which is what I've been doing here in the podcast. On the group, I actually go and interact with our group members every other day, and I do lives. So go check us out there. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Sol Lagunas _ so we can continue the conversation. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you're in an IEP or if your child is part of an IEP plan, and we can talk a little bit more about that. I am so curious to know what your experience has been like with inclusion and as a special needs parents, because I can totally relate to feeling different, just overall as a family, we feel so much love and joy for him that we don't see the differences. But maybe your experience has been a little different than ours, and I would love to know what your input is. And yeah, as always, thank you so much for being here. This podcast would not be possible without you. I appreciate you listening and taking time out of your day to come and talk to me and talk and listen to what I have to say. So thank you for that. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye. I'm so happy you just finished listening to that podcast. If you don't mind, after this is done, go and rate the podcast. That's the only way more people are going to be able to get reached, more knowledge is going to be spread, and more lives are going to be changed. So if you don't mind doing that favor for me, I would appreciate you. I already appreciate you for listening to this podcast. I love you so much. Thank you for being such a great person and super supportive. I cannot wait for you to listen to the next one. Till then, have a good day.